Today I'm going to be learning more about Finnish culture by reacting to a video about Finland's national instrument, the Kantele. So I've actually not heard of this before, honestly, from the videos I've watched, I don't think. But interested to learn more about it. Tell me what you know about it. Tell me if you know anybody that plays the instrument and so on. Really interested to see it, see how it sounds. Let's enjoy.
Hello and welcome back to Irish in Finland. Today's video we are going to talk about Finland's national instrument, the Kantele. It is the national instrument of Finland, and Finnish folk poetry recounts that the first Kantele was made from the jawbones of fish and the hair of young maidens. But before we get into the runes and poetry about the Kantele, let's first talk about what this instrument actually is. The Kantele is a traditional Finnish and Karelian plucked string instrument belonging to the southeast Baltic box zither family. The Kantele has a distinctive bell-like sound. Finnish Kantele generally has a diatonic tuning. Players hold the Kantele in their laps or on a small table. There are two main playing techniques, either plucking the strings with the fingers or strumming unstopped strings. Small kanteles and concert kanteles have different, though related, repertoires.
It's like very beautiful to listen to, honestly. Okay, that's the first time I've heard a Kantele and I love it.
The rune about the origin of the Kantele describes how a stringed musical instrument was created and played for the first time. As a musical instrument, the Kantele belongs to the same type as the Russian guzli, and it has many counterparts among Eastern stringed instruments going back to Byzantine culture. In the main genre of the Kantele runes, the hero Vainamoinen is caught in his boat on the shoulders of a big pike and makes a Kantele from its jawbone. Many people attempt to play the instrument without success, until the sorcerer himself starts to play. The rune playing the Kantele describes Vainamoinen playing so enchantingly that the animals of the earth, air and water, the whole creation, stop to listen. The Kantele is probably the oldest melodic instrument in the Baltic Finnish culture area, and the runes of the creation and playing of it could be seen as the coming of joy and withdrawing of shaman drums from Iron Age villages. Perhaps as sheer exaltation of music, Kantele runes have been preserved in all Karelian and Ingrian areas, and more variants of this topic have survived than is generally the case with epic poetry in archaic form. Now let's take a look at some runes which include this particular instrument. The first here is the Elk Bone Canday, preserved in the Savo-Karelian area. It is the main version of this genre. In its rune, Vainamoinen is carving a boat on a mountain, and having finished it, he launches the boat in the water. Alternatively, he meets a weeping, sailing boat on the shore, lamenting that it has not been allowed to go to war. This introduction is also a separate poem known as Lament of the Boat. On the boat journey, Vainamoinen first sets the old men at the oars, but only when they are replaced by the young does the boat start to make progress. But the boat runs aground. It is caught up on the shoulders of a big pike. Jammed the craft of Vainamoinen caught the god's boat not on a rock, not on a snag, on the shoulders of a great pike, on the haunches of the water dog. Vainamoinen inquires after who could release the boat, or Joukahainen tries in vain to strike the pike with his sword, but the sword crumbles as earth. Finally, Vainamoinen pulls the pike into the boat and strikes it with his sword, when all of a sudden, the pike broke in three. The centerpiece fell, the tailpiece sank to the bottom of the Black Sea. They caught hold of the headpiece. What would the smith make from it? What might it be? A Kantele. The nails for the Kantele are made from the pike's teeth, and the strings from hair of Hisi's maiden. What was the Kantele's soundboard from? It was from the big pike's jawbone. What the Kantele's strings from? From the hair of Hisi's maiden. In Ladoga, Karelia, the Kantele maker is Kauko. He makes the body of the Kantele from the knee bone of a forest reindeer, the cover from a salmon tail, the nails from a pike's teeth, and the strings from hair of Hisi's maiden. The Kantele is completed and both boys and married men play it. But the joy does not feel joyful. Only when Wainamoinen begins to play does everyone come to listen. There was not a creature in the forest on 4 legs or in water swimming with 6 fins, nor in the air flying on 2 wings that did not come to hear Wainamoinen's music. In South Karelia and Ingria, there is a rune about the Kantele being made of ram bone. It is called the Ram's Bone Kantele, and it goes like this. I was a serf in Estonia, a cowherd in a bad land. I was paid a cup of rye, a scoop of butter, a horn full of barley. The narrator shows the barley in the earth, and looking at his sowing 3 days later, he finds a ram there. A ram was there in my barley, a blue horn on my island. The singer removes the horns from the ram and asks the smith to make a kantele from them. Often it continues with a list of materials. The kantele was missing something. It was without the centre string. I walked along an acorn road, met a maiden. Dear maiden, give some hair, give some tresses from your head. The maiden gives her hair and the kantele is completed. The kantele was played by the young and the old, but it did not play a pretty tune. Then a blind boy calls from the corner, bring me the instrument. When the blind boy starts to play, all the women listen with tears in their eyes, all the men's eyes fixed on this blind boy playing the kantele, and all the animals of the forest come to listen. Another kantele rune you can find in Ingria is the Elk Bone Canday. It is about a girl who goes into a leafy grove and hears a strange drumming from a distance. She sees 2 elks fighting, and this is where the rune starts. Here's a drumming from the wood, a loud clash from the forest, elks there fighting, bone horns wrestling. The girl then goes home and asks her brothers to kill the elks. When they return, they give her the antlers. She then goes to a smithy and asks him to make a kantele. Dear blacksmith, make me a kantele. The rune continues. The strings for the kantele are made from the hair of the maid from the underworld, the nails from a big pike's teeth, but the instrument will not play until a blind boy starts to pluck it. Then all the forest animals come to listen, and the people dance with joy as the blind boy plays. In northern areas, the player is Wainamoinen, although sporadically other players, such as Joukahainen and the blind boy player, are known right up to Ladoga Karelia. In the northern version, Wainamoinen asks for someone to play the instrument. Young Joukahainen or someone else tries to show off his musical skills. When Wainamoinen picks it up and starts to play, all the animals of the waters and forest as well as people come to listen. Touched to the point of tears, the whole creation listens to Wainamoinen's music. Played the old, played the young, joy does not feel like joy or music like music. Steady old Wainamoinen himself sat down to play, placed his fingers on the kantele. Placed his fingers did Wainamoinen, plucked the kantele strings with small hands, slender fingers, thumbs curved upward. There was none in the forest running on 4 legs that did not come to hear. The very master of the forest rose up on a mountain, leaned against the fence. There was none in the waters swimming with 6 fins that did not come to hear Wainamoinen play. The very mistress of the waters rose up on a rock, lay on the reeds. In southern areas, the player was a blind boy who emerges from his corner once others have tried first. A blind boy from his corner said, from his niche, one of little sight, bring here the kantele, under the fingers of the blind boy. All the boys in the house, they leaned their cheeks on their hands. All the girls in the house, they had tears in their eyes. Little flying birds too settled on branches. Worms under the ground lay upon the earth. The wolf broke his big head, the bear his stiff neck, running along the frozen lake to hear the kantele, to hear the blind boy play. According to research done by Matti Kuusi,
I just want to talk about that first of all, because I don't really know what runes are. I've heard that name before, but I guess it's like old stories, but they're actually very enjoyable to listen to. I mean, especially something like this, of course, like that's so important to Finnish culture, like the national instrument. I never knew of the instrument before. It sounds very beautiful. I'm from Scotland. Our national instruments, the bagpipe, and of course I got to say the Kantele sounds a lot more beautiful, peaceful, spiritual, heavenly even. And to see it like represented in these runes, it's like a really cool way to learn about it. Tell me more about them if you've got like a favourite rune. And about the Kantele, tell me if you know anybody still playing this. How's it used in Finland today?
According to research done by Matti Kuusi, a Finnish folklorist, the original core elements of the Kantele rune, the themes of creation of the Kantele and making the boat, have been placed in the early Kalevaik or Aboriginal Finnish era. He has defined playing the Kantele and its northern main type as a neo rune, originating from the core Kalevaik era. Historically, it would be placed in Iron Age Finland. Kuusi drew attention to the stylistically original splendid idiom of playing the Kantele and calls the runes unique, mysterious peak of Kalevaic epics. Playing the Kantele may also be seen as a genuine description of playing the archaic 5-stringed plucked Kantele. The most widespread and evidently also the oldest main type is the Elk Bone Canday rune, which has survived in the Savo-Karelian area of seasonal and long-distance hunting culture. This rune has originally been thought of as a right rune. It has still been used as a fisherman's and hunter's incantation in the 18th century. Kuusi deemed it possible that Vainamoinen was a shaman heroes of an Arctic fishing people, with a reputation that survived in songs through the centuries. The Kantele runes, in common with all poetry about Vainamoinen, have gradually changed and turned into a culture of sorcerers. The shamanic drums have totally disappeared from Sweden communities and passed with the hunting culture to Lapland, until the Christian clergy destroyed almost all witch drums during the 18th century. The old Kantele runes have remained closest to their original form in the area of Savo-Karelian culture, where the song was about a Kantele made from fishbone. The elk antler, ram bone and wooden Kantele occur on the Karelian Isthmus and Ingria, which have been areas of cultivation culture for a very long time. But I would love to know if you have any stories yourself about this particular instrument.
That's so cool, man. That's a great way to learn about history, to learn about different things. I'll leave the link to this video in the description. Go subscribe to that channel. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, such an interesting instrument, definitely like very soothing to listen to. I'd love to hear that live. Tell me if you know anybody that, yeah, as I said, that played it, it's performed with using it. How commonly is it heard these days? The Kantele, tell me more about it. Thanks.